Hey everybody, welcome back to the Yeah channel, home to everyone's favorite YouTuber who definitely didn't promise to make a video on the hit indie horror game Granny twice in a row. No, if I remember correctly, I actually said that the next video would be on Garten of Banban. I definitely said that. I am Yeah after all. I would definitely know. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel since we're trying to hit 20 gazillion subscribers by next week. Yeah. Are you really gonna gaslight your poor audience so you can talk about Garten of Banban? Are you okay, man? Like, mentally? I think Granny probably would have made for a better video topic than whatever this is. Where's the Granny video, dude? Where the fuck? Jokes aside, I get that I have now said at the end of 2 different videos that the next video would be the Granny video. But more important shit keeps coming up. Like FNAF Evolution. That was very important, okay? But yes, today we are stepping back into the world of Garten of Banban. Something I unironically thought I would not be doing again for a long time. Not only is the content farm scene for it on actual life support, as I've brought up before, but the games have kind of just become less interesting to talk about over time, at least from my perspective. Like, nothing since Banban 2 has even been nearly as bad, so I haven't really had a reason to talk about the games in a while. However, that all changed with the release of Garten of Banban 7. Yes, we are on 7 for those who haven't been keeping up. There's only 6 games though. We skipped 5. Don't question it, the Euphoric brothers are clearly ahead of the curve here. Soon every game series will be skipping numbered entries, just for the culture. Anyway, Banban 7. As you may or may not know at this point, ever since the 4th game, Garten of Banban has featured various YouTuber voice acting Easter eggs. We've had the likes of Think Noodles, some other people I can't think of right now, and me. I can't be seen talking to you. Did you read the signs? Yes, I am not kidding. This is not a bit. I, Evan have a voice acting role in the newest Garten of Banban game. If you haven't been keeping up, or hell, maybe even if you have been keeping up, you are probably very confused right now. It was only a year ago that me and the Euphoric brothers were at Digital War. So how the hell did we get here? How did I get in this game? Why did I agree to be in this game? And most importantly, can we talk about how Garten of Banban 7 is actually kind of decent? Like, me being in it aside, no bias, 7 is easily the most enjoyment I've gotten out of any game in this series. What makes it stand apart from every game that came before it, which led to it being an enjoyable experience for me? Are we really in the timeline where Garten of Banban is finally locking the fuck in? Alright, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself here. I think I need to pop some Javanium to cool down. Ugh, it never gets easier. Alright, so clearly I have a lot to talk about today. Who knows how much I have to say on each topic individually, but regardless, there are definitely a handful of things to go over. So let's do them all. We'll talk about my voice acting cameo, my relationship with the devs, and what puts Garten of Banban 7 above the rest. Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between, strap the hell in, because this is my full thoughts on Garten of Banban 7. But first, this video is sponsored by Displate. Displate is a unique metal poster that aims to make the whole process of putting a poster up on your wall easier, faster, and best of all, far more stylish. There are over 2 million posters to choose from on the Displate website, featuring designs from the likes of Marvel, Star Wars, and even a ton of video game stuff. Displate was kind enough to send me over an awesome looking Cuphead displate for me to show you all today. Not only does this poster look awesome, but it was insanely easy to set up. With the Displate magnet mounting system, it's as easy as cleaning the wall, sticking on the sticker leaf, pressing down on the magnet, and placing your Displate on top of it. The magnetic backing easily attaches and stays there. Here's the best part. If you get sick of the Displate on your wall, all you have to do is take it off of the magnet and easily swap it out for another one. It's painless, quick, and helps keep things fresh. Look at this awesome Google dinosaur one. Pretty cool, right? Displate even offers a new textura print for its posters that makes them look even more premium than they already do. I genuinely really love this product as someone who doesn't want to damage the walls of my apartment that much, and with fast shipping options, it's really no brainer. What are you waiting for? Go to www.displate.com/yeah or use my code yeah to access my discount of up to 42% off. That's the biggest sale of the year so far. Thank you so much to Displate for sponsoring this video. Alright, clearly I have my work cut out for me today. So let's start with probably the most interesting topic first. My voice acting role in Garten of Banban 7. Let's start at the very beginning. Well, actually, no, let's not do that. The very beginning is a lot of fighting and annoying Twitter arguments. At least we raised like $11,000 for charity because of it, but still, messy times. No. If I want to tell this story, we need to go forward a bit from the whole yeah versus Euphoric Brothers Twitter war, and instead move over to the release of Garten of Banban 4. This game in the series was set to be the debut entry of a highly anticipated character, the Jester. The Jester is a character that was only hinted at in Garten of Banban 3, but was very obviously going to be a focus of the next game, thanks to a few clues and teasers. This Jester character was later revealed to be named Bittergiggle, which is probably a name more of you recognize. However, the character isn't actually all that important to this story, as beautiful as they are. No. What's important is their voice actor, Ty Coker. Ty, right from the beginning of their voice acting in Garten of Banban, was always trying to positively interact with me and many other controversial figures in the Banban space. It was actually nice for a change to be interacting with someone involved in this series without all the drama and lore thrown on top of it. It was always fun seeing them in stream chats and around the community, and overall, Ty is just the GOAT. Ty had been working with the brothers for years prior as well in a couple of their older games. Not important to the story, but I think that fact is kinda neat. Ty will become important a bit later, but just keep in the back of your mind that they were active in our community from a very early stage. Anyway, fast forward to the release of Garten of Banban 6, and I very much remember not being excited to play that one. Not because of the game itself really, although the overall lack of hype for it definitely didn't help. No, I was just kinda not doing well at the time, and the last thing I really wanted to do that day was stream. However, me being on the fence about streaming that day very quickly turned into, I have to stream today, no matter what. Because I was alerted on Twitter almost immediately after the game came out that the phrase, "bird up," was in it. I genuinely just couldn't believe it at first. There was literally no way, right? There is no way that the Euphoric Brothers would put a direct reference to me and my stupid joke in the newest Banban game after everything that happened between us over the past year. But despite my disbelief, it was really in the game. Obviously, I knew this was in the game going into it, which kind of sucked because I would have loved to have a blind reaction to that archived, but hey, you don't win them all. On my stream that I did eventually do later in the day, I decided to make my stance clear on both my thoughts on the joke being included, and my general thoughts on the Euphoric Brothers and Banban. Let's talk about this. I mean, they literally stole your joke, yeah. I guess we should talk about this. I'm very confused why they included this joke, because obviously it's very tied to me, because it's my fucking joke, I created it. I'm very confused about that. But hey, you know what, Euphoric Brothers, if you're watching, hit me up. Let me voice a Bittergiggle clone in the next game. You know what? My DMs are always open. You just gotta unblock me on Twitter.
Stay in the middle where
Listen, I'm your biggest marketer and biggest fan. I've done so much work for the Garten of... Okay, motherfucker. I've done so much work for the Garten of Banban community. Unironically, I think ironically or not, whatever. I think I've helped these people in backwards ways, sure. So they should appreciate me, and I should appreciate them. That's what I wanted from the beginning. I didn't want it to be a big old war. I think it's stupid. But if they want to be butthurt about it, that's fine. But I'm not. I don't care that much. So, as you saw in that clip there, I was pretty open to the idea of burying the hatchet and moving on with the Euphoric Brothers. Despite what you all may think of me, I actually did not enjoy having an active negative relationship with the devs of one of the games I am most known for talking about. And sure, there were definitely mistakes made on both sides of the argument to get there, but it had been so long by that point, and my opinions had changed so drastically, that I thought it would be best to just drop the grudge and move on. So after my stream, on a complete whim, I decided to unblock the Euphoric Brothers on Twitter. They still had me blocked, but I just thought if they ever maybe decided to remove that block, it'd be better if I didn't have them blocked still at the same time. I really, genuinely didn't think anything would come from it. From my perspective, the brothers really didn't have a good reason to bury the hatchet on their end. However, a few weeks go by, and I'm just scrolling on Twitter like I always do when I want to rot my brain, and I notice a Euphoric Brothers tweet on my timeline, which was very confusing. I had to do a double check, but just like that, with no warning, I was officially unblocked by the Euphoric Brothers on Twitter. An almost year-long war started with the hashtag #FreeYah movement was finally over. I couldn't believe it. How the hell did this happen? Well, this part is a bit speculative because I don't actually have all the details, but here's what I think was going on behind the scenes that led up to my unblocking. Ty Coker was obviously in pretty frequent contact with the Euphoric Brothers, thanks to their role in Garten of Banban. And I also just assume they're acquaintances to some extent, given their long history of working together. I have no idea what their conversations were like before their whole bird up thing, but to my understanding, Ty was trying to get the brothers to ease up a bit when it came to criticism and all that jazz, which is obviously a good thing, especially as the narrative was changing a bit. the criticism Garten of Banban was getting by the time 4 came around was significantly less harsh than it was when Garten of Banban 2 came out. If there was any time to finally try and build bridges, it was now. Fast forward to Banban 6 and the bird up reference being in the game. I had to assume Ty saw my little rant, which you all saw in this video a little earlier. If not that, something convinced them to go out of their way and talk to the brothers and just be like, alright, if you're gonna use this dumbass's joke in your game, the least you should do is unblock him. Probably in nicer words, but you get the picture. So yeah, this somehow worked, probably thanks to the months prior of the brothers easing up a bit thanks to Ty, and probably just them growing and changing as people. As you do. Newsflash, people can grow and change. Shocking. Anyway, not only was I finally unblocked, we very quickly ended up following each other back on Twitter after I'd found out about the unblocking. This led to a very short Twitter DM back and forth between me and one of the brothers, probably Ferris if I had to place money on it, so shout it to Ferris. Nothing was really said of importance here, but the tone was friendly and I felt like the hatchet had finally, truly been buried. Regardless of what you think of the games or the brothers, and regardless of what I think of the games or the brothers, this just felt good. Banban had accidentally become a really big aspect of my life, which is really a sad thing to say out loud, I guess, but it's true, damn it. So finally having the creators not on your bad side was just a good feeling. It's not like they asked me to change my ways or stop criticizing them for any of this to happen either. They just did it. Gotta give them major props for that. Anyway, that's the backstory, but now we get to talk about why the fuck I'm in Banban 7 as a Javanium alien who's mildly, no, extremely racist against humans. Well, as all things in this story, it comes back to the GOAT, Ty Coker. Alright, so it was just a random day. I was chilling, probably not working on video stuff as I always do. Maybe playing a little bit of Fortnite, you know, getting a couple Vic Roys on no build if you catch my drift. Eventually I got bored with all that and decided to hop onto Twitter, where, you know, I really get to stimulate my brain. However, I immediately noticed a DM from none other than Ty. Ty's DM was letting me know that the brothers were in the middle of getting all the YouTuber voice roles for Banban 7 set up, and that if I shot them a DM about it, I could probably get in the game with a voice role. Now, I would never pass up the opportunity to have a voice role in Banban. That sounded like the funniest fucking thing ever. So I immediately acted on that tip I was given and reached out to the Euphoric brothers once again through DMs. To my surprise, they were super down for the idea. And before I knew it, I was signing documents and reading my lines. It didn't take very long to get all that done, and soon my voice acting debut in Garten of Banban 7 was finished and sent off. Ironically, that was the easy part. The hard part was not telling anybody. When I recorded my lines, the game was still over a month away from releasing, so I just had to sit on my thumbs and pretend I wasn't in this game every time the topic of Banban came up in discussion. Eventually the game did come out, and I was finally able to see all the reactions from both my friends and random people.
Oh,
I wonder what this guy...
I love him.
You know what? I wonder what this guy has to say.
I wonder if this is a YouTuber.
You?
What?
Didn't you
What?
read the signs?
Fuck you, what? You! What the fuck?
Finally, I can talk about this! Yes, I did voice acting
What
for this
the-
game.
What the fuck?
The best reactions were definitely my editor Alice's, the baddest, and Unique Geese's. All three of those were very funny. Interesting. I believe it.
I have a DM to make. You motherfucker. Alright, that's all I had to say.
Not only that, but I got to experience that very trippy reality of having my voice featured in a Think Noodles and Lanky Box video. That was fucking weird, but also really funny. Take your business elsewhere. Ugh, your flesh disgusts me. Hey! Overall, the reaction was way more positive than I anticipated, and it was a very entertaining day to be on the internet for me. I guess I could talk a little bit about the character I play. In the credits, I'm just listed as Bartender, however most people have just decided to call the character Liam, since that's the name on the bar. Not to pat myself on the back, but I think I did a pretty decent job with the voice. Although the line delivery for the final line literally just sounds like I'm doing my YouTuber voice, which kind of annoys me looking back on it. However, I am aware of multiple people, including Unique Geese, who only figured out it was me through that line, somehow. Interesting. The boss will want to talk to you. Head to the back and I'll have the door open for you.
Why did that sound like yeah? I don't think it's yeah, but why did that sound like yeah? Is that one of my friends in this game? I couldn't recognize his voice. If that's not yeah, that's crazy. No way, dude. I was just in a fucking call with him.
So I guess it worked out in the end. At the end of the day, I just gotta thank the brothers for taking a chance on me and letting me voice this stupid little alien. It has been an absolute highlight of the year so far. I could go on and on about my fantastic performance as Liam the bartender racist alien, but we got other stuff to talk about. And since we're already talking about Garten of Banban 7 itself, why don't we shift our focus on to the next topic I wanted to bring up today. Why is this game kind of good? I should be clear here. When we're talking about Banban 7 being good, we're talking for Banban standards, alright? Don't go into this game expecting some crazy shit. It's pretty in line with the rest of the series' more recent entries. However, there are a bunch of small things that this game does which make me like it significantly more than those previous games. And that's what I want to talk about today. This isn't really a review or overview of 7, I'll probably straight up ignore a lot of the game when talking about it here. Instead, I want to cherry pick moments and sections from 7 and directly compare them to previous games to see what things specifically have been changed that made the game more enjoyable. However, before we get into all that, there's something we need to talk about first. Garten of Banban 7 is still a bad horror game. Like, that stupid-ass Resident Evil Javanium baby segment was definitely just more annoying than scary, given how damn dark that room was. I will say, though, I do like the design of the baby. They are pretty funny. And also, my opinion on the horror here is absolutely subjective, because my good friend Gaming Age screamed like a bitch during this section, so hey, maybe they're doing something right.
The Deception, it's just like he's so silly.
Anyway, this aspect of the series has always been pretty consistent from the beginning. None of these games are that scary. There are always attempts made to try and make the game scarier, and I would argue 7 tries the hardest in this department, however it's all still pretty shallow stuff. My enjoyment from Garten of Banban at this point comes from the batshit crazy story, the characters, and the world building, which have all been a major focus the last couple games, definitely more than the horror in my opinion. At this point, I'm convinced most people who watch and play these games are in it for that stuff and that stuff alone. I say all this because I will not be judging Garten of Banban as a horror game, even if it's still trying to be one to an extent. No, I will instead be looking at Garten of Banban 7 as an adventure game, which is how it's actually categorized on the store page of the mobile ports. I feel like this title is significantly more fitting for the games at this point, and it's how I'll be viewing them from now on, unless some super hard pivot into horror is made later down the line. I also just want to quickly mention that even though I don't think these games are good horror games, I think the underlying horror themes and tone is still a good fit for the establishment the game is set in. You can be a game not in the horror genre and still pull off an unsettling tone or atmosphere just for the sake of the game's theming. Just mentioning all this so people understand specifically where I'm coming from here. Got it? Cool. Let's talk about some Banban. In honor of my Banban 2 video, I've decided to split up this segment into different sections like a shitty top 10 list. Except instead of top 10, it's top 2, and there's no top, it's just 2 things that I think make this game a lot better than the other ones. Let's do this thing. The environment and hub area. The design of the environments in Garten of Banban have been a point of criticism since pretty much the beginning of the series. The purchased assets often clashed pretty hard with the more simplistic areas in the kindergarten and made all the games feel pretty cheap. This isn't 100% solved in 7, however, out of any game in this series, it definitely does the best job making all the areas feel cohesive. I want to specifically focus on the small city that the majority of the game takes place in, because there are some genuinely really cool looking areas here. The small bar where my voice acting cameo is located looks really nice and cozy, and the environmental world building of all the aliens eating lollipops is really cute. The theater looks good, the motel looks properly run down and shitty. Overall, the environments here are a major step up. That doesn't mean everything is perfect though. I think the tool store has some pretty meh environmental work compared to the rest of the game, and the opening section is still pretty bland. However, I do love the inclusion of all the little bugs everywhere. Definitely helps set the tone that this place is long abandoned. Something funny about these bugs is that if you die in the section with them, when you respawn, all of the bugs are brought back to a respawn point as well, and have to scurry out from it, which is a very amusing bug. Get it, I'm funny, let's move on. So yeah, the game looks a lot better than the last couple games. However, that isn't actually why I wanted to talk about the environment in this video. Sure, it looking nicer is one thing, but from a gameplay standpoint, the small city location is significantly better as a hub area than any of the ones featured in the previous games. Let's take a look at Banban 4, for example. This game's main hub area is this castle safe area that the queen resides in. It looks fine, however, it's really fucking big for no reason. This would be fine, I guess, if you only went here at the beginning of the game. However, in Banban 4, you were forced to come back here multiple times to give both Toadster the gears and talk to the queen. This involves a lot of walking around these large, boring environments just to make progress in the game. And that mixed with some of the longest dialogue sequences in the series make it a really boring one to replay. If this hub area was cut down to even half the size it is currently, this problem would essentially be gone. So that's an issue. But on the other side of the coin, traversal outside of the hub area is also a pain in the ass. You have to take this conveyor thing that brings you to each of the different locations in the game, but the animation of riding the thing takes so long, and if you press the wrong button, you just gotta sit there and wait until you can get off it to try again. It makes everything feel so disconnected and not part of the same building. None of the locations except for one small room look anything like the hub area in Banban 4. Banban 3 has a similar problem, since you need to waste time on this platform thing that goes across a bottomless pit every single time you want to go to a new section. Once again, it's slow and boring and makes everything feel super disconnected. Banban 6 actually doesn't have this problem, but instead has a new problem. Traversing through the areas in this game isn't disconnected, instead it's just boring and tedious. You have to slowly move your drone around the darkness to safely walk to the other side of this big empty open area without getting killed by the naughty ones. It's insanely mind-numbing and kind of just serves as a thing to do in the game. It's essentially just really shallow gameplay for the sake of having some gameplay. The idea isn't even inherently bad, it's just a really poor execution. Alright, we've gone through all the previous games that matter for this discussion, and how they failed with their traversal and hub areas. How the hell did Banban 7 get it right? Well, it's really just that city setting the game takes place in. Since everything is so close to each other, it doesn't feel like you're going to the other end of the fucking earth every time you need to progress in the game. The flow this time is very natural, and it's very hard to get lost here. The bar is close to the motel, which is close to the theater, which is close to the tool store. It all just works. Not only that, but the world building featured here definitely adds to the location. There are Javanium citizens walking around the streets, multiple NPCs just chilling around the city, and even an awesome little dance party that you can watch. The Euphoric brothers unironically did a good job making sure this place felt lived in, which is super commendable. Because everything is so close together as well, if you need to backtrack or end up not being sure where to go, it never takes long to get back on track. Which is absolutely something I cannot say for Banban 3, 4, and 6. If you get lost in those games, you'd be spending minutes on minutes waiting for moving platforms or slowly moving a drone through the darkness, just to get back to playing the game. So yeah, City Injian, which is a terrible name by the way, is a great location for the game and adds a lot to the quality of the experience. There's one more part of the environment work that I want to talk about here, and that's the hellish notified Bittergiggle chase. If neither of those descriptive words made any sense to you, good. Anyway, this chase is easily a highlight of Banban 7. It features some cool music, a decent chase, and a cool ending that adds to the story. Rest in peace, Bittergiggle, my goat. What I want to talk about specifically here is where the chase takes place. It's so often that these mascot horror chase sequences, especially the older Banban ones, take place in these very random areas that don't really make sense outside of their purpose of being for a chase. With that in mind, I was pleasantly surprised when I realized the chase in Banban 7 actually takes place on the rooftops of the city you've already spent most of the game exploring. Not only is this just a really smart way to use the environment again, it's also just fucking cool and makes sense within the context of the game. You can even see the streets below where you've already explored while you're doing the chase. I really love this section a lot, and I think it does a great job showing both why the environment is so good and how the Euphoric brothers have genuinely improved as game developers over the course of the last year. So yeah, huge W's all around. Gameplay improvements. The other thing I wanted to talk about on this great top 2 list we have going on here is just the overall gameplay experience that Garten of Banban 7 has to offer. Here's what I have to say on this topic. I think there are stronger individual gameplay segments in previous games. However, looking at everything as one package, this one is absolutely the most consistent the game has ever been. If you're wondering specifically what gameplay segments from previous games I think are better, I'm referring to the Nabnalina section in Banban 3 and the Naughty One section in Banban 6. I think both of those are very fun little segments of gameplay. However, they're bogged down by the rest of the game around them. There really isn't one section in 7 that makes me dislike the game as a whole. The closest we get to that is the path mapping part, but that's mostly just because the new drone controlling mechanics are really jank and kind of annoying to use. Other than that, this is a very consistent and fun experience. The chase is good, like I said earlier. The Banbalina classroom section is good, which was a shock to me after how much I disliked the 1 and 2. And all the other smaller parts of the game aren't really annoying in any way that actively stick out to me in my mind. And I would absolutely take a game with no crazy bad sections over a game with one really good section and a bunch of crazy bad sections. The real win that Banban 7 has, though, is that there's no boss fight in this game at all. And thank God for that. Banban has had notoriously bad or poorly explained boss fights in the last couple of games, and usually by the time I reached the bosses, I was already getting sick of everything, and those boss fights never helped with that mood. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised when this game did not feature one. It kind of just went into the ending pretty naturally, and I think it's easily the most satisfying in the series because of it. Banban 7 is in no way a perfect game. Far from it. But as someone who's been following the series from day one and knows way too much about the story and lore and all that shit, I had a really fun time with this one. I don't think going into this game blind will do it any favors. It's definitely best experience if you know the story up until that point, but I also don't think someone going into this game blind would necessarily have a bad time either. It's just enhanced with previous knowledge of the series for sure. I liked it. I liked Garten of Banban 7. It was good. If you told me I'd be saying those words a year ago, I'd probably laugh in your face. Very loudly. But here we are. I want to end this video off with a bit of a message, but also just my perspective on something. Every time these games come out now, you will always see people on Twitter complaining about their existence, and complaining about how there's more coming, and that Banban is getting so much attention, and all that jazz. And listen, if this was like a year ago, I would 100% agree with you on that, with no issues. But shit has changed, man. Like it or not, Garten of Banban has grown into an actual community, with some seriously talented people in it. Just take one look at the insane fan art the Euphoric Brothers retweet, and you'd probably know that. But I also see so many genuine, real people excited for this series and excited for the future, and it really sucks when people try to tear them down just because they hold a grudge that should have expired months ago. Most people seem to carry that grudge because they think Banban ruined mascot horror. However, I refuse to entertain the idea that Banban ruined mascot horror when so many fucking fantastic mascot horror games have come out this year alone. If anything, this series pushed people to do better and bring the mascot horror genre to new heights. So here's what I gotta say. Everyone should just take a chill pill and stop being annoying about Garten of Banban. You don't like it? Cool, that's fine. Don't give it attention. But at the same time, don't harass or belittle people who do like this series. Obviously, criticism is fine. Great even. We wouldn't be here without it. But there's a fine line between criticism and just being an asshole for the sake of being an asshole. Garten of Banban is a series that has impacted my life in so many strange ways, but I don't regret the journey I've taken with it over the last year and a little bit. And I look forward to whatever crazy shit comes next. I finally feel at peace with this series. You know, unless the next game is shit, but hey, we're hoping for the best here. Anyway, that's all I have to say for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and tune in next time for the Granny video. Just kidding, it's probably gonna be a Digital Circus video. Haha, I've been yeah, and I'll see you all next time. Be seen talking to you. Didn't you read the sign? The racist!